this point, well rested, fully ready to go. Bye week to scheme out a not so great opponent, home game, all of those things considered, we should expect a really good performance from the Philadelphia Eagles against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. But with the way things have gone so far this season, who knows? It's a Cat Country 96 Birds recap. It is brought to you by Miller Lite, the official beer sponsor of the Philadelphia Eagles, and by our friends at Banko Beverage. You can find them at bankobeverage.com. Sam Malone, my buddy over there. We're not going to talk about the Phils last night. We're just going to focus on the Birds here. But I do have to ask a question.
Sure.
All those things I just mentioned, coming in healthy, week to prepare. We know the Browns are not a very good, you could maybe argue, the worst team in football right now with everything that's going on.
Close, yeah.
How much of a must-win is this game for you on Sunday?
If you look back, that's a great question, because you look back and how many must-wins do the Eagles have throughout many seasons, right? You look at all these games, must-win. This one, I think this one is a must-win for the NFC East, and it's a must-win for Nick Sirianni. If you want this coaching staff to stick around and to continue to build what they want, the Eagles need to win this game. This is a must-win. If they don't win, you have Washington on top of the – I mean, let's just talk division. I'm not even talking wild card or anything like that. You have Washington on top of the division. You have the Giants, who I called just the Giants last week or 2 weeks ago. You have the Giants playing better, and you have Dallas not playing great football, but they're winning. So this is probably the biggest must-win that I can remember, probably since week 2. In a while.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Yeah.
So I will follow it up with another question based on all the things that we've started this whole thing with: healthy, bye week, time to prepare, all those things. If the Eagles squeak out a 20-17 win, are you okay with that just because it's a win? Or do you need to see like a definitive foot on the gas, beat a bad opponent, win at home kind of game? Because that's, I'll step in first on that, because that's how I feel about this game. You go back to last season, even when they got off to that 10-1 start, there was so many games that just felt like, okay, it wasn't pretty, but they'll get it together next week. Okay, it wasn't pretty, but they'll get it. And then that get it together never really happened. This feels like it has to be, to me, feels like it has to be we put our foot down on the gas and never took it off kind of win on Sunday.
We were talking about that early this morning in the office, and I will never be upset over an Eagles win. So I kind of took that approach. You go back to the 2017 win over a really bad team. In the moment you say, oh man, we should have won. That should have been 35-0. That's ridiculous that we let Cleveland hang around for so long. But I mean, points aren't really necessary. A win is a win. You can say, oh man, we're back. We're 3. Are the Eagles 2-2? It's been so long. They're 2-2, right? Okay. You can say we're 3-2 right now. I mean, we could have lost, and I'll turn it around and say that.
Yeah, but the optics won't change. If the optics are still, is Jalen Hurts going to ever get back to MVP form? Does Nick Sirianni, is he doing everything he can to put this team in the best position to win football games every single week? I will say this. We talked about this way early in the season. Had they not have won that game against New Orleans and then got blown out against Tampa Bay with this bye week, I don't know what the percentage of chances it would have been that Nick Sirianni was fired, but I'll bet the conversations would have been rolling, especially after how they got blown out by Tampa Bay. We've already seen one head roll in the NFL with Robert Saleh already getting put on the chopping block. To me, watching Jeffrey Lurie walk into that locker room after that game in Tampa Bay kind of told me everything I need to know about where he is with this football team right now. And I think there are a lot of eyes on this game on Sunday. Again, you're playing a Browns team that, there's people talking about how they may have made the worst trade in any professional sport in history. Yep. They're not going to bench Deshaun Watson because of everything that they invested in him. This is just, you're going to have to ride that horse out. I don't know. To me, this game feels like it has to be, even, I don't say 20-17, but I feel like this needs to be a game that says like, okay, we saw a lot of great things on both sides of the ball, all three phases of the game, that we can build on, that going into the next week against the Giants, because let's be real, I don't think anybody anticipated the Giants were going to go into Seattle and win that game.
No, not at all.
Last week. If the Giants get a win this week and all of a sudden you're kind of playing for who's second or third place in the division because of how Washington and Dallas are playing,
Mm-hmm.
Man, that puts a lot of pressure on that game if you don't put out a really good performance and just kind of eke out a win against Cleveland, doesn't it?
So, okay, so the Eagles have reached that point in the season and as an organization where, okay, they are better than this. They're better than squeaking by Cleveland. They're a much better offense than, with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith in there. So, and Lane Johnson is back. They're healthy. So I guess that's another side you can look at it and say, wait a minute, you did have all your three starters back. You use the excuse or the fact that they weren't there last week. Their offense never really got in a rhythm. This week, to your point, if they do just squeak by, wait a minute, you had all your starters back. You have a
Right.
healthy Saquon. You're coming off of a bye week at that. They typically start off slow anyway. So I'm anticipating another slow start. That's just something that Crockett, for the longest time as an Eagle fan, for whatever reason, they slow their
But
offense.
why?
I
But
don't know.
why?
I don't
But
get
why?
it.
Change the logo on the helmet. If you
Right.
put A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Saquon
Yeah.
Barkley and Dallas Goedert and Jalen and all these guys who have all these names to them,
Yep.
doesn't matter what city that they play in, you should expect an efficient offense from them.
Right.
To me, it's you have a quarterback who I think is still figuring things out a little
Sure
bit.
he is.
And
Yeah.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because of who
Yep.
wasn't with him the first month of the season.
Absolutely.
We keep reiterating the one thing that you feel, even when Lane was out, the one thing that you felt really good about with this team was you have an offensive line and a running back. And that's what I feel like I need to see from this team. And if you're telling me that I can't expect points from this offensive line and this running back in the first quarter of this game, man, have we got some big old problems ahead of us. Because if you're telling me that I need a quarterback to win on 3rd and short, who has the ability to run, who can, hit a check down receiver, who could pick up, you don't need to score 75-yard touchdowns. You need to keep moving the chains. They have every piece of ammunition that they need going into this game. To me, I need defensively, we're still trying to figure it out a little bit. I expect them to be somewhere between New Orleans and Tampa Bay. Can't expect them to be everything they were against New Orleans. Have to expect more from them than they got in Tampa Bay. I need this offense to be an offense that is going to score points, and I need them to come out on Sunday and do it early.
So if the Eagles, let's say the Eagles put up a lot of points, and the final outcome is 38-28 Birds, 38-30 Birds. Very good offensive showing, moving the ball, no turnovers. Jalen's getting rid of the ball quickly, sees his reads, all this stuff. Barkley's having an incredible game, but the defense gives up 30 points. And the Eagles still win with the Eagles defense giving up 30 points. But the offense looked good.
See, to me, that's fine, because your expectation going into this season was, we don't know what this defense is going to be. They just have to be a little bit better. I say a little bit. They have to be better than they were last year. They have to be, if they can crack the top half, if they can be the 16th best defense in the league, if they can be a top 20 defense in the league, your thought process with everything that they have on offense and all the expectations and everything like that is, okay, if you're telling me that this team is probably going to give up 24 points a game, I have to expect that my offense can score 27 with all the weapons that they have. So if they were to win this game 38-30, to your point, Jalen protects the football. They move up and down the field. They score in the red zone.
Right.
They're cashing in when they can cash in. Yes, I can live with a closer, high-scoring game than I can a 17-13.
Right, okay.
You just let the clock run out already kind of a game, because that is who I feel like this team should be. If we blindly talked about this before the season, and we did talk about this before the season, what kind of team this needs to be, it's the offense needs to set the tone, the defense needs to keep their head above water, and things should figure themselves out from there.
Now, there's also a fine line between, okay, they should beat the Cleveland Browns, but you don't want to take the Cleveland Browns lightly. Just when you start, if you take them a little lightly, that's when things can go south quickly. So I think the Eagles have the right, I know Brandon Graham is a leader on the team. He's a great team leader. It seems like it anyway. I don't play for him, but I think he could, that's a concern too, taking the team a little lightly. You don't want, especially on your home field the day, the week after a bye. That's where you don't want this team hanging around. It's 13-10 at the end of the third quarter. It's 16-10 Eagles at the end of vice versa. You do not want the Cleveland Browns to be hanging around. That could lead to a game-winning field goal for Cleveland or something to that effect. And I think that's when we'll see some changes on Monday.
And not only that, from the neck up for these guys, this
Yeah.
crowd wants
Oh.
to see a team that they have been waiting to see for quite some time right now.
Mhm.
It's no secret what they are, particularly on the offensive side of the football. If they
Right.
come out and they go throw 7 times out of their first 9 plays and go 3 and out 3 times in a row like they did against Tampa Bay, from
Yep.
the neck up, this is going to become a really difficult game for the Eagles. It's Cat Country 96 Birds Recap. It is brought to you by Miller Lite, the official beer sponsor of the Philadelphia Eagles, and by Banko Beverage. You can visit them at bankobeverage.com. Yeah, listen, there's already Cooper DeJean. It looks like is going to be starting in Avonte Maddox's spot. That makes a lot of sense. Alex Hunt got some snaps against Tampa Bay. Is he going to be setting the edge? The thing that I'll live with from the defensive side of the ball is I will be fine with guys who just don't have a lot of experience, maybe getting caught with their pants down every once in a while just because they're younger, all of those things. I can't live with a lack of an effort on the basic nuts and bolts in tackling, setting an edge, the physical elements of the game. And so if you're telling me the score is 38-30 and Alex Hunt or Jeremiah Trotter Jr. comes out or Cooper DeJean has a couple of nice plays, Quinyon Mitchell continues the path that he's on this season, but they're young and they might get caught out of place and there's communication issues with Cooper DeJean. I can live with that because I'll say to myself, okay, we're in week 5. If the offense can continue to be productive, let this defense figure it out. Are you telling me that they can win, 10 of their next 13 games or 9 of their next 13 games with this production on offense? Great. And hopefully your defense has figured it out by the playoffs. I need the offense to be the engine that runs this team, that is efficient, that gets points, because if not, that's where I feel like the wheels are going to start coming off of this thing.
I'll tell you what, for obvious reasons, the majority of the fans are not going to be in a good mood on Sunday in that stadium, obviously.
They will be looking for something to cheer about. That's for sure.
Absolutely. You need something to I wonder what this game will bring with all the aggressiveness of Sirianni. And I know we talked about this a little bit last week. I wonder if, in fact, if it is 4th and 2 at their own 42-yard line, if he decides to punt it away, or if it's 4th and 3 in Cleveland's 42, does he try a long field goal, or does he go for it and stay aggressive and just see what happens,
So this is what we've talked about before is I am supportive of aggressive, supportive of believing your guys can get it done. The opponent matters.
Sure.
We talked about the Atlanta game. It felt like 24 was kind of the number that you felt like you were going to need to win that game, coming off of how they looked against Pittsburgh. Sure enough, it would have been. You look at New Orleans when you could have taken the points, when it already felt like that game was going to be a close game to begin with. You left points on the table. If you feel like Cleveland, who is a team that has not scored 20 points yet in a game this season, and you have an opportunity to be inside the 30-yard line and take 3 and dare Deshaun Watson and that offensive, load the box, don't let them run the football, and dare Deshaun Watson to beat you.
Right.
Okay. Then you take your 3 points. Take the points where you can get them. We'll get the small wins that you need. Singles can lead to home runs. Let's get through that you can generate runs with singles still. That's how I feel. If it's nothing in the first quarter and you go for a 4th and 4 at your own 18, kick the field goal. Just kick it. Dare that team to beat you. And if you can say to yourself at the end of the game, man, we thought we were a team that was going to score more than 20 points. They scored 24 and beat us. I can live with that rationale.
Yeah.
I cannot live with we're just going to be shooting pistols in the air, living dangerously all the time. When I think this team just needs some confidence. Get points on the board.
Yeah. Don't
come out and turn the ball over in the red zone. That's what it feels like to me. So I hear you. I love aggressive. Read the room. Read the team you're playing. You want to be aggressive against the Washington Commanders because they're putting up a ton of points, and Jaden Daniels looks like the rookie of the year, and you feel like, man, we might need 31 to win this game. I'll live with those results. Play the analytics, the reading the room, all of those things need to be considered when it comes to getting points in this game to me.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need to do that in against Cleveland. And that's a great point. Now, next week again, I don't know if you have the schedule in front of you or not, but are the Eagles in? Are the Eagles home next week? Are they back to back? Or are they in New York or Jersey?
It's Cleveland. If I remember, it's home against Cleveland. If I remember correctly, it's home against Cleveland, at New York,
At
at
New York.
Cincinnati, home against Jacksonville in prime time. But
Okay.
I will double check that.
Yeah, they need to get out of this game with a win because this will be their first NFC East opponent of the year going into New York, a hot New York Giant team right now. So this is a big
Yep.
win. Got to play good football. I'm going back to what you said earlier today, too. You got to play some good football in this. You got to make some good decisions. Got to get that offense rolling. It could be tough to play in the Meadowlands, as we've known for many years. Giants always play the Eagles stuff out there, or Eagles play the Giants stuff, either way you want to look at it. But I think, yeah, let's go back to your first initial question. Is this a must win? Absolutely it is. Or how much of a must win is this for the Birds to win this game and then just play one game against the NFC East and then it's back against the AFC again. I think this is a huge game to go there 3-2. I think you brought up the potential record last week. They can get 3 wins out of these next 4 games. Maybe even 4, Crockett. Dare I say that? But they could easily do this and change their entire season around by a good performance Sunday.
As frustrating as they've been,
yeah,
they've shown they showed it against Green Bay. They've shown what their offense can be against Green Bay. They've shown what their defense can be against New Orleans. If you can find a middle ground in there somewhere, I feel like they could be a really difficult team to beat. Yes, they are on the road in New York next week.
Okay.
I'm going to ask a question because I feel like it needs to be asked.
Sure.
Is there any circumstance that happens in this game that Nick Sirianni is not the coach in New York next week?
You mean besides the obvious just losing the game, or?
You tell me. If it's as simple as that, if the Eagles lose to the Browns 20-17, is Nick Sirianni the coach next week?
I think they're going to ride with him a little longer because they're not out of it yet. Yes, I think he's still the coach next week. I know Jeffrey's not in a good mood right now. I get that. I don't think he's going to make that decision. Well, he did have a bye week, though. Let me think about this one again.
So then I'll make it a little easier. If the Eagles lose 30-17 to the Browns, is he the coach against the Giants the following week?
No, I think they're going to go interim with Kellen Moore.
Okay. Well, listen, I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. But let's be optimistic. Okay. Sure. Yes. I think we both feel confident that they can beat the Cleveland Browns on Sunday.
We do. Absolutely we do. Yes.
Okay. So I need what your prediction is, and I need who needs to be the standout in this game. Who's the one that's going to give you good vibes getting ready to go into that week against the Giants?
All right, I'll give you my Eagles. This is the week that they do score quickly. They get the offense going. But a lot of times when they do that, they stall. We've been Eagle fans too long. I think the Eagles do put up 27 points, and I think they can win this one 27-13. That's an Eagles win. I'm going to give you I think is Nakobe Dean still starting, or did he lose it to Trotter? At last, it was okay.
It sounds like practice has been the no one's job is safe kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So we'll have to see about that. But
I'm going to say on defense, Nakobe Dean has to step up. He's missing tackles. He's misreading plays. I know he's younger, but he's got to make these tackles. So defensively, I'm going to go Nakobe Dean. And I'm going to go back to Barkley. You got to lean on Saquon Barkley. I mean, you can't ignore Barkley the first quarter of a game. You can't do that again or let him touch the ball 2 or 3 times before halftime. You got to go deep, Barkley, and Eagles win the game. He's going to be pumped going in New York anyway next week. So keep that pump, keep him pumped up.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to go with, and I love your answer because that's the team that I think the Eagles should be. It should be through Saquon Barkley and then play your offense around that.
Yeah.
That said, I do think Saquon has a nice day on Sunday. I need a really efficient game from Jalen Hurts. It doesn't have to be a 400-yard. It doesn't have to be a 300-yard game. I need a guy who completes 70 to 75% of his passes, no turnovers, one touchdown, a touchdown rushing, a touchdown passing. I need like an efficient stat line that says, okay, we can throw the ball if we need to. We're going to be a running team. This is what this team is built for. But if a team decides that they want to load up the box and dare our quarterback to beat them, that he's got the confidence to do it. So I need an efficient, turnover-free,
Yep.
climbing the pocket, reading and reacting, making the right decision kind of game from Jalen Hurts. It doesn't have to be an MVP caliber game. I need a good game from Jalen Hurts on Sunday.
I agree with you. That's very well thought out. Yep.
We'll see if it happens, Sam Malone.
All right,
I sure hope it does. It's the Cat Country 96 Birds Recap. It is brought to you by Miller Lite, the official beer sponsor of the Philadelphia Eagles, and by Banko Beverage. You can find them at bankobeverage.com. For Sam Malone, I am Kevin Crockett. Sammy, go Birds.
Go Birds. And quickly, Crockett, if you get a chance, I'm going to be on at Big Woody's in Bethlehem on Sunday, beginning at 12:30 for an Eagles tailgate party. Please come on out, join us with Banko. Miller Lite products, some cat goodies to give away as well. So we'll have a fun time there. Watch the game.
You heard it. Sam Malone's bringing all the good vibes. So go out there.
Let's go.
We need them, buddy. Okay. It's the Cat Country 96 Birds Recap. It is brought to you by Miller